What's up, guys? Back with a brand new video, and today I'm so excited to tell you guys that I made and submitted a hybrid last weekend, and I'm so excited to tell you guys about him, so let's get into today's video. Here over at Dino King Genetics, we created a creature so terrifying, so powerful, that it will single-handedly rip apart the Indominus 2.0, and I would like to quote Mr. Mizrani here.
Think it'll scare the kids?
The kids? This'll give the parents nightmares.
Is that good?
It's fantastic.
He is the pinnacle of genetic engineering. We call him Sid. Whoops, I don't mean this Sid, I mean this Sid. Obviously, there's a lot to unpack here, so let me break down what his genome's comprised of, starting with the body. Sid here comes in a whopping 13 feet tall, 14 to 15 feet long, and 6 tons fully grown. He is definitely not getting pushed around by the Indom 2.0. He's made up of 30% Megatherium for the overall build. Megatherium is the largest ground sloth ever discovered. He contributes to the factual bipedalism of Sid, which I know Goji Center loves factual bipedalism. Goji Center, if you or your research team is watching this, know I've taken a lot of notes from your videos. Being mostly bipedal, this will make it extremely hard for the Indominus 2.0 to push over Sid. I also chose Megatherium for those massive muscular arms of his. Megatherium's arms had the ability to lift 8,800 pounds. So Sid will have a very easy time overpowering the Indom. So Sid will need some overpowered claws to back up those powerful arms. Now into the second portion of the video, the claws. Next up, we got Saurophaganax. Now, he makes 4% of the genome. Now, I thought it would be a great idea to give the Indominus 2.0 a little taste of his own medicine, or should I say poison, foreshadowing later on in the video. Saurophaganax's claws are perfect for Sid because Megatherium's claws were very similarly shaped and were used for a very similar purpose to Saurophaganax. But Saurophaganax's claws are just much sharper, and they'll serve a better offensive purpose than Megatherium's. Now, this combo of Megatherium's arms and Saurophaganax's claws will make it so it will have way better grappling ability than the Indominus 2.0 and be able to easily outdo and subdue the Indominus 2.0. Now, this brings us into the next portion of today's video, the head. Next up, we got Indominus. He makes up 20% of Sid's genome. He contributes to the head and teeth. He also contributes to eyesight and sense of smell. My first pick for the head was the good old T-Rex, but I've seen so many people use the T-Rex, and for the purposes of Sid, his head would be way too robust and heavy, so I opted for his smaller cousin, Indominus, with still a very impressive bite force of 12,000 newtons. With this much lighter head, it'll reduce strain on Sid's neck, and it'll be easier to support the weight of the skull. T-Rex's head was just way too heavy for the Megatherium's neck to support. So now, Sid won't have a hard time maneuvering his own head and still have a very strong bite force. Now we're going to make the teeth even more powerful. Now into this segment of the video, the teeth. Next up, I chose the northern short-tailed shrew. He makes up 4% of the genome. He was used to give Sid iron ingraining in his teeth to make his bite even more powerful. Now, in this portion of the video, you might be saying, well, Dino King, you're just stealing genetic contributors from the Indom 2.0, and what I say to that is, to defeat the enemy, you must become the enemy, and trust me, the short-tailed shrew has some more evil purposes later on in the video, but I promise, this is the last one I use from the Indom 2.0. Next up, we have the Smilodon, also known as the saber-toothed tiger. He makes up 2% of the genome. He was chosen for the 2 front fangs it has, and the instincts of stalking and hunting prey. This will help Sid be way more stealthy when hunting the Indominus 2.0. This will also give him excellent night vision. Now that we got a great offense, we're going to need an even better defense to protect Sid against the Indominus 2.0. Now into this portion of the video, the armor. Next up we got the pangolin. He contributes 15% of the overall genome. He contributes to Sid by giving him the scale-like plate armor, almost completely covering his entire body. The pangolin has a defense where it rolls up into a ball. Another reason why we chose Megatherium was because other ground sloths are able to roll up into a ball, and it's theorized that Megatherium could also too. So for the purposes of Sid, we're saying Megatherium could also roll up into a ball. This armor that pangolins have is so strong that not even lions can penetrate it. Now, how would we make this armor even more powerful, you might ask? Simple, by giving it scaly-foot snail DNA. It contributes to 2% of Sid's genome. This snail coats its shell in metal, to be specific, iron pyrite, which is also known as fool's gold. So the scaly-foot snail DNA combined with the pangolin DNA will make a chainmail-like armor that'll protect Sid from any of Indominus 2.0's attacks. It'll basically break its claws and teeth just trying to attack Sid's armor. And it just happens to be that the nickname for the scaly-foot snail is the sea pangolin. Oh, and did you think we were just gonna stop there? Oh no, we're gonna make this overkill by adding electric eel DNA. He contributes to 4% of the genome. This gives Sid bioelectricity. And do you know what conducts electricity? Metal. And it just so happens that Sid's body is almost completely covered in metal, including his teeth. Now do you know why I used the short-tail shrew DNA? So any attack that the Indominus 2.0 tries to land, he'll just be electrocuting himself. And the Indominus 2.0 has short-tail shrew DNA too, and has iron teeth. So if he tries to bite Sid, he'll be in a world of pain. And the last time I checked, the Indominus 2.0 isn't immune to electricity. Now you might be asking, Dino King, how much worse can it get for the Indominus 2.0 now? Well, the answer is it can get a lot worse. This is the Iberian ribbed newt. He contributes to 4% of the genome. Now, he might not look like much, but he has a very unique defense mechanism. This newt pushes his own ribs out of himself. It's used as a defense mechanism against predators and also an intimidation display. And he doesn't feel a single ounce of pain while doing this. How does it work, you might ask? The newt's ribs are very strong, but also extremely flexible. It uses muscle contractions to push the ribs out and hinges them forward through these warts located on its side. The newt has 8 of these warts on each side. So Sid will inherit these very flexible but very strong ribs and also the warts. Only 16 of the total 46 ribs will come out of Sid through these warts. As these ribs come out, they'll lift up the corresponding plate and give Sid a little bit of stomach protection. This will also scare the crap out of the Indominus 2.0. This little guy has really good regenerative abilities, so every time he pushes out his ribs, he can push them back in and heal after it. He can regenerate total limbs, spinal cord, eyes, heart, and internal organs. Isn't that crazy? So that means that after Sid's done killing the Indom 2.0, if the Indom 2.0 even laid a scratch on Sid, which he probably wouldn't, a few days later he'd just be totally fine. And not only does he just push out the ribs and has an insane regenerative capability, those ribs are covered in poison, leading us into the next portion of the video. The poison. Our little newt friend here has poison glands that the ribs push through and coats the ribs in poison. So if the Indom 2.0 goes for the stomach, he'll be met with a nasty surprise. If he even touches one of them, he'll be getting a nasty bit of poison. Now, I did take into account that the Indom 2.0 does have dwarf crocodile DNA, and crocodiles are resistant to most poisons and venoms, so that's why I chose a contributor that is notorious for its venom killing crocodiles. This is a cane toad, and he consists of 1% of Sid's genome. His poison is notorious for killing all sorts of crocodiles and select other animals. That's why I chose him. He has glands that secrete this poison over his body. So as Sid's ribs protrude out of his body, they'll be coated in this poison. Next up, we got the golden poison dart frog. He makes up 2% of Sid's genome. The golden poison dart frog has enough poison to kill about 10 humans and is considered to be one of the most poisonous creatures on Earth. He also contributes to the poison secreted on the skin. Next up, we got the short-tailed shrew again. And you know how early in the video I told you guys that I'm gonna give the Indominus 2.0 a taste of his own poison? It's not clear if short-tailed shrews are even immune to their own venom. Now, it's very likely that short-tailed shrews are immune to their own venom, so that's why I chose an animal that's very venomous and has high resistance to venom. Next up, the Sydney funnel web spider. It makes up 2% of Sid's genome. It has the most deadly venom of any spider. And spiders are highly notorious for having strong resistance to almost all venoms. Thanks to its DNA and the saber-toothed tiger's DNA, Sid's fangs will be a combination of the two, and the venom will be conducted through the fangs. So the short-tailed shrew venom and the Sydney funnel web spider venom will kind of be a concoction of the two and be released through the mouth, and the cane toad, golden poison dart frog, and Iribian rib newt poison will be released through the skin and will also be a combination of the three. So now Sid has some of the most powerful poison and venom ever. So now we still have one last contributor to the poison. Here we got the Dilophosaurus. He makes up 2% of the genome. He was chosen for his ability to spit venom. So this way Sid has a ranged attack. This will now give Sid the ability to spit out the concoction of venom that gets released through the mouth. He also gives Sid these awesome head crests. Now, what else could we give Sid to make him even more powerful? Oh, I know. The ankle breaker. The guy I'm using for the tail upgrade is Stegoros. He makes up 2% of the genome. I chose him for his unique tail spikes, as shown on Sid. One well-placed swing of his tail to the Indom 2.0's ankles, and those things are getting shattered. It'll slice through tendons, muscles, and bone. Thanks to the scaly-foot snail, it'll be like cutting through butter. We have one last thing for Sid. Temperament and smell. Next up, we got the honey badger. He makes up 2% of the genome. I chose him for his iconic temperament and aggression. So Sid will be fighting against the Indom 2.0 with pure rage. I also chose him for his remarkable resistance to venom. Now for our last contributor, the skunk. He makes up 1% of the genome. Now I know what you guys are saying. You're like, Dino King, a skunk? Why would you need that? And trust me, I'm going to answer why I'm using it. I'm using the skunk for, well, you guys probably already know what I'm using the skunk for. Its scent glands and the ability to shoot out its scent. And short-tailed shrews absolutely hate the smell of garlic. And the scent that the skunk shoots out is very similar to garlic, and the Indominus 2.0 uses short-tailed shrew DNA. And it also has the DNA of the T-Rex, which has probably one of the best sense of smell of any animal ever. If Sid is releasing the smell during the entire battle between him and the Indominus 2.0, it will be messing with the Indominus 2.0's sense of smell and leading him vulnerable to attacks. You guys are probably already saying, well, Dino King, you have short-tailed shrew and Sid too, but here's the thing. Skunks don't mind their own smell, so I'm using the skunk DNA to also make it so Sid isn't affected by the smell. With all these creatures put together, it forms Sid. His scientific name is Megatyrannus, and he's comprised of a total of 16 creatures. With all of Sid's defensive and offensive abilities, there's no way the Indominus 2.0 could ever win. So there you have it. I made a hybrid that'll rip apart the Indominus 2.0. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe, and I had a lot of fun making this. I hope I get into the top 16. Wish me luck, guys. See you guys in the next video.